Meet Kevin has gone a little bit off the rails recently. There has been loads of talk about him all over the internet. There's been loads of criticism around him, of course, as well on YouTube and Reddit and other sites too. In short, he changed his tune. He is now bearish. He sold out $20 million of stock, everything he has pretty much, and he may have lost around that same amount in trading over this last year as well. Today and in this video, we're going to very briefly talk about what's going on with Meet Kevin, what kind of channel he has, why it's changed, and also what I think of everything that's happened as well. But first, really quickly, make sure to leave a like and a comment to bless the YouTube algorithm. If you want more content like this, then check out our Patreon and join our community of investors. You get access to our Discord, loads of exclusive content like insight into my portfolio and buy and sell alerts for all my own investments. So what exactly has happened? Well, Kevin is a YouTuber who for the last year or so has been into the stock niche, and he's been a super bull for the last 2 years. Now his channel is pretty damn big. I think it's probably safe to say that it is the biggest finance channel on YouTube as a whole in this niche. He averages about 12 or 13 million views a month. He sells courses as well, teaching people how to trade in the stock market, how to analyze the bond markets, how to invest in real estate as well, and all that kind of stuff. Now he bet big on Tesla very early on, and he made himself loads of money on that big bet. He then went on to bet big on pandemic stocks, stay-at-home stocks, companies like Zoom, which soared off into the stratosphere as lockdowns around the world started, and he made himself loads more money. At some points during the last couple years, he's been making $3 or $4 million a month from selling courses, selling merch, his YouTube, his adverts, his sponsors, and everything like that. So it's no doubt that he's been making a lot of money recently. Now he used these large successes with stay-at-home stocks and with Tesla as well to push himself as a stock picker during 2021, and in short, it didn't go well. He did really quite badly. Now he doesn't actually post his profit and losses as far as I'm aware, or if he does, they're probably locked behind a paywall, so I can't tell you exactly how much he lost, but we do know that he did very badly. We know, for example, that he used to have a portfolio of $40 million in stocks, and last week he told us that he sold 99% of his portfolio for $20 million. So it's possible that he lost as much as $20 million trading in 2021, but again, no one really knows the exact figure except for Kevin himself. I also feel it's probably important to mention that it's possible that he was also just on lots of margin, so he could have been getting rid of that, and that could be one of the reasons he lost so much money. Now, for an example, on one of his plays that didn't do well, he put $1 million into Peloton stock near its peak back in 2021, which is now down over 80%. He has also been hugely bullish on Enphase, a Nasdaq listed stock in electricity or something like that, that is now down over 50% from its peak. Basically, the Nasdaq stocks that crashed, he bought them, he invested in them, he thought they'd do really well and take him to the moon, but 2021 was a very bad year for his picks in general, maybe apart from Tesla. Now, one of his big mottos, one of the things that he spoke about continuously and that he taught in his Psychology of Money, one of his stock trading courses, was the motto of buying the dip. Basically, stocks kept crashing and he kept buying the dip, and he kept telling his viewers to buy the dip as well, and his viewers and commentators all agreed and they bought the dip too, and the channel really became quite a bit of an echo chamber, which to be fair is not really his fault. It's not Kevin's fault. People congregate around those they agree with. It's a very natural thing. Now, another big mistake that Kevin made is that he thought inflation was transitory. He agreed with Jerome Powell pretty much throughout the entirety of 2021, and he was a big proponent of that idea. He used to say it all the time. Inflation is high now, but don't worry, it will be replaced with deflation soon, so there's nothing to worry about. Interest rate rises are not a problem because of that. Now that was his position for most of 2021. Now I do confess that I don't watch all of his videos. He puts out far too many for me to watch every day, but I have listened to quite a few of them, and I've listened to him talk quite a few times on a few Millennial Money podcasts as well, which he was on back then, and that idea that inflation was transitory came up constantly from Kevin. Now he has also been a huge supporter of Cathie Wood, the founder of ARK Invest, who again made huge bets on Tesla and stay-at-home stocks. She and Kevin agreed on a lot of things, more so Kevin agreeing with her than the other way around, but still the principle stands. And so he drifted to her point of view. She bought pandemic and stay-at-home stocks and did very well for a bit, as did Kevin. He used her as confirmation bias that he was right, especially with inflation, as she was at the time a very successful fund manager and she had the same ideas and the same philosophies as Kevin, so he used that as confirmation that he was on the right track. Now, as 2021 came and went, Kevin was wrong on most of this stuff. Peloton did awfully. Tech and growth stocks in general, the smaller Nasdaq companies, did awfully. Cathie Wood did awfully. Her main fund, ARK-K, did awfully. And inflation got higher. It didn't go down. It wasn't transitory. And it got to the point where even the Fed wouldn't use that word anymore, and interest rates started looking very likely. Come January 2022, and that tech collapse came. Now, Kevin had been getting hammered. Like I said earlier, his portfolio shrank a lot and he almost definitely lost millions, maybe as much as 20 million. But from people who watch his channel a lot and are part of his groups, they seem to think the number is probably around about 12. Now, as the markets crashed badly in January, the Nasdaq fell over 10%, the SPY fell almost 10%, and tech stocks that Kevin loved did even worse. He started to change his views, and in an instant, he sold almost every position he had, convinced that tech stocks will do worse in the future. Now, this is pretty much the polar opposite of everything he said in the entirety of 2021. And it's the complete opposite of what his audience believes as well. And they are still these buy the dippers, buying as the stocks fall, thinking that these companies are undervalued. Now, because of this decision he made to sell out of the market, to abandon his motto of buy the dip, he got an awful lot of hate. And there's a subreddit around Meet Kevin, and it is crazy critical of him right now, and they are not happy at all. His comments on videos were really negative as well, calling him a sellout, calling him a paper hander, deriding him for selling the dip and not buying it instead. And what did he decide to do? Well, he disabled comments on his YouTube channel to hide from criticism that maybe he couldn't be bothered to deal with, maybe he didn't want to see it, maybe he wanted to pretend it wasn't there and to make sure that new viewers coming to the channel didn't see it either. But in short, he kept his changed viewpoint and he kept his new portfolio of mostly cash as well. He is now convinced that a recession is coming, that macroeconomic data is bad, that rate hikes will destroy tech stocks further, and that the rest of the markets will hurt too. He's now holding cash, he's gotten rid of his margin, and he's waiting to buy back in to time the market. I think his only positions are really a small amount of Tesla and a small amount of options as well, probably $100,000 or so, really not a major amount when you consider that he's holding almost $20 million in cash. Now, he has almost entirely sold out. Now, for full transparency, I expect this video to reach a different audience than usual. Meet Kevin being the topic, being in the title, maybe some of his viewers will come here and watch this video, and I think basically the same stuff that Kevin does now. I also think that macroeconomic data is poor, that inflation data is awful, that the low labor force participation rate is not good for the US economy, and that rate hikes are here and they will drop valuations. Now, I am also mostly in cash right now. My portfolio is public to my patrons, and I've been bearish on sentiment and stocks in general for months now, waiting for the right time to sell out. Now, despite the fact that I have been bearish for months now, I only sold out of my last American equities over December, and I am now also waiting to buy back in, trying to time the market. So I agree a lot with what he's saying, and I suspect lots of my audience agree with him as well. His audience, though, doesn't seem to be on the same page, and lots of them disagree with him. He was egging them on, convincing them to stay in the markets too. So him leaving the markets on a very quick decision that to them didn't seem to be justified by any real data or something concrete, it's a big shake for them. Kevin had a sharp 180-degree turn, and it's made lots of his viewers doubt him. And I think he's probably right here, despite being wrong the whole of 2021. But this isn't about being right or wrong, because no one knows what's right or wrong yet, and we won't know for another year or two minimum. Now, I do have to say, though, that the hate here that Kevin is receiving for this is absolutely wild and insane. His viewers have turned very toxic. Obviously, not all of them, but some of them have gone incredibly toxic, especially considering this is just one person trading with his own money. Yes, he is rich. Yes, he has a lot of money in the markets compared to us, but he's not moving markets. He isn't a market maker. He's not a billionaire fund manager like Bill Ackman, and his audience isn't big enough to make a difference either when we consider just how big the companies that he's trading on are. He is just one trader. Now, I've seen some people say that Kevin is being bribed by the suits to crash the markets, and this is just crazy. Disagree with him, sure, but attack his character just for changing his opinion is a little bit absurd, and it doesn't make any real sense. Now, some other people are calling him a grifter, saying that he changes niches to whatever is popular. First, he was in the real estate content, then he was a stimulus check update YouTuber, and then a stock YouTuber and a crypto YouTuber as well, and then he ran for office and made that a big part of his channel. And for this, I'd say his YouTube is a business. He has employees and he has a mandate to maximize profit, and he does that by going to what's popular by what gets views, and I don't see any valid criticism for that. That being said, I do think it's fair to criticize the way he portrays himself as an expert stock trader when really he's only done it 2 years, he doesn't have any formal education, no degrees in the industry, and so I understand that kind of criticism instead. Now, another thing that Kevin did is he put out some tweets and statements pushing the idea that a recession is coming, supposedly trying to manipulate the markets. But I don't think he was trying to manipulate markets. I think he was just trying to justify his change of opinion. One tweet in particular he made was of an empty restaurant saying that it's the start of the frugal decade and that a year ago it would have been absolutely packed. Now here, again, I understand this criticism. I see the anger here and I get it. And some people have likened this to Bill Ackman going on TV and telling everyone that hell is coming and that whole tirade. But I don't think here Kevin is trying to panic the markets because he doesn't have the power to actually influence companies like this, in my opinion. Now, one little thing that I do think is worth mentioning is the fact that lots of course members seem to be asking for refunds on his subreddit. Lots of people are unhappy with his course on learning how to trade stocks. They don't think it's worth it. They think it's a bit of a grift. And on this, I will say he should not be selling courses on how to trade stocks because he is not a successful stock trader. To be perfectly honest though, even if he were a successful trader, he still shouldn't be selling courses on how to trade stocks because most people who buy them wouldn't become successful traders either. Now, I very specifically don't sell any kind of course at all because I think in general on YouTube, they tend to be scams. Some out there may be fine, but 99% of them are wastes of money. So I'm just going to ask all of you to not go spending any money on any courses, not me Kevin's or anyone else's either. In short, Kevin has had a change of heart and the direction of his channel seems to be changing as well. Will this be for the good or the bad in the long run? I really don't know, but I really doubt that he's going to see any major shifts from this. He's still the king of finance, he still gets more views than any other channel, and I really don't see that changing anytime soon. Now that is it for the day. I will be back tomorrow, of course. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a like and a comment to bless the YouTube algorithm. If you want more content like this, then check out our Patreon and join our community of investors. You get access to our Discord, loads of exclusive content like insight into my portfolio and buy and sell alerts for all my own investments. It is now February, so if you've been waiting to join, now is the perfect time. There's a link in the description to masterworks.io, a site that allows you to buy fractional shares of art from world famous artists like Banksy, which can be a great way to diversify your portfolio with non-market correlated assets. It's completely free to sign up, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to hand over any card information, so if that sounds interesting, then make sure to check it out. There's also a link in the description to BlockFi, which will give you up to $250 in free Bitcoin when you use it. You can also get 9% interest on stablecoins like USDC, which is a far higher rate than you'll get from any savings account these days. Just make sure not to use Tether. Thank you all for the support. Thanks for watching. Stay stoic. Until next time.